Are you an English learner? If no, then close this video. Go and watch another video. But if yes, then let me ask you a question. Have you ever met someone who writes well English, but they can't speak it? They can't even say or pronounce what they write. Or maybe you haven't yet met the person, but you are the one. So you are basically a good English writer, but not a good English speaker. There is a difference between studying a language and learning a language. English learners, especially francophones, turn to study the language instead of learning it. They think that English is a subject at school like biology, maths, or history. Unfortunately, that's not the case. Study English. If you want to be an English professor at university, you want to be an expert or a doctor in the English language, then study that. Study the story of English and how English was created. Become very good at writing. But if you just want to use English as a communication tool, then why are you studying it? Yes, you are studying the language. Because learning a language is getting practical knowledge and skills that you need in order to communicate efficiently, to understand, and to speak adequately. That's all we need. In a language, there are two main parts: theory and practice, writing and speaking. Usually in English training centers, you, the student, write more than you speak. So your teacher is the one speaking a lot. They will be explaining to you grammar and pronunciation rules, vocabulary, and the rest. You will be taking notes, right? You will be writing. And if you go back home, don't continue writing more than you speak. Because if you do so, at the end of the day, you will become a good English writer, but unable to speak what you write. That's the most common mistakes English learners make. The reason why you spend 6 or 9 months learning English and you notice that your writing skills improve, but your speaking skill is still poor, is still low, simply because you are studying the language. If at school you write more than you speak, when you go back home, reverse it. Speak more than you write. You see, a language is 90% made to be spoken and only 10% to be written. Unfortunately, people have the misconception of spending much time on the wrong thing, that is writing. Let me put you in a circumstance. Let's say two people have been learning English for 9 months with the purpose of getting a better job. So after learning English, one has been writing more than he practices, and one has been practicing more than he writes. Now this one becomes good at writing and this guy becomes good at speaking, and they go for a job interview in English. Now who are they going to employ between both people? The one who writes well English or the one who speaks well English? You already have the answer, right? So English is 90% made to be spoken. That's why if you want to learn a language, you have to practice. Unfortunately, English learners avoid practicing. Just imagine that you are traveling with an Anglophone, and to communicate with the person you have to write and then show to the guy, and then the guy reads answers, but you have to write again and show to the guy. The guy is going to say, damn, what the hell is this? You can understand and write, but you cannot speak. So it really makes it difficult to understand. So learn by practicing. And you don't always have to wait for somebody to give you the floor before you speak, before you practice. As an English learner, you can even practice alone. You can be talking to yourself when you are home or when you are walking in the street alone. I do this up to now. That's why I don't lose track of the English language. For example, when you're home or when you are walking alone, you know a topic that you have been discussing in class, or you just imagine any kind of topic, and then you start talking, you start giving your opinion. You start speaking like you are speaking with people. When people walk alone, I see them listening to music, listening to a motivational speech, sometimes even singing alone, rapping and so on and so forth. But I rarely see people speaking alone when they are walking. It sounds crazy, right? I know that. You see a person walking and talking alone, but if you see somebody listening to music or singing alone, it becomes normal. That is just people's mindset. That is people's general opinion of it. How you view it should be different from other people. Don't be like most people if you don't want to end up like most people. Do more than what most people do, and you will get more than what most people get. And this is what I'm talking about. Practicing alone. What most people don't do, but you do it. Most people have to wait until somebody listens to them, then they can practice their English. But do like me. Believe in and do unbelievable stuff that will make you perfect and different from others. When you practice alone, you train yourself. And when you go before people to speak, you will just flow. You will do the same because you are used to it already. You will just put in your mind that nobody is listening to me. Your fears and shyness are gone. Don't be the type of person who joins an English training center just to get a certificate at the end of the training. They don't make efforts. They just think of the certificates they are going to get. Those people are really excited to be graduated for a simple English training. And during their supposed graduation, they take nice pictures to be posted on social media. But ask them questions in English. They can't speak well. They can't defend what they have been graduated for. They can't defend their proficiency, their certificates, testimonial, or however you call it. Some of them even spend 3 years, 5 years in an English-speaking country. But when you hear them expressing themselves, you will say, this guy has been here for 2 months. Haven't you noticed that it's easier to write English than speaking it? Especially speaking before people. You are afraid, you are shy, you are worried about your mistakes, you shake like a leaf, you forget what you prepared to tell them. The fears and shyness you have in your heart is a proof that you are doing the right thing. It's a proof that you are beyond your comfort zone. That's why you feel uncomfortable. Now, if only if you keep on practicing, you overcome your fears and shyness, you'll be a master. And that is learning the language that I'm talking about. Listen, you are an English learner. And if there is an advice that I have to give you about this, is use 50% of your time practicing, 30% reading, and 20% writing English. You will see how your spoken English will be. And avoid saying that my pronunciation is not good. No, have confidence and work on it. It will surely get better. Remember, the more you believe, the better you become. And the more you practice, the most perfect and confident you become. So don't study English. Go and learn it. And don't forget to subscribe.